All right, why don't we begin? Good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi tout le monde. I am joined today by my colleagues, Ministers Murray, Guilbeault, and Minister Wilkinson, and we will each in turn be providing an update on the wildfire situation impacting so many parts of Canada. And currently across the country, there are 458 wildfires burning, and 235 of those are determined by local authorities to be out of control. As a result of the wildfires that we've experienced so far this year in Canada, almost 5.3 million hectares have burned so far, and if I may provide some context to that, that would represent the total area of nearly 3 times the size of Lake Ontario. Currently, there are 18,683 people who are remained evacuated from their homes and their communities. However, a significant number of people in both Quebec and Alberta have been able to return home, and we think that that's a sign of significant progress and also reflective of their very hard work of our first responders and fire officials right across the country. And while the situation has improved significantly in the Maritimes, and the rain and cool weather are certainly helping in other parts of the country, including Quebec, the hot, dry, and windy conditions in parts of Western Canada and in Ontario are exacerbating an already dangerous set of circumstances. We know that the peak of the wildfire season may still be several weeks away. Together with our provincial and territorial partners, we are closely monitoring fire activity and planning for any potential increase. The Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre continues to work with our international partners to ensure we have adequate firefighting resources, and if I may say, I think they're doing a terrific job of making sure we have people, equipment, and water bombers where we need them and when we need them. It's important for Canadians right across the country, and especially in higher risk areas, to take precautions, to be prepared, and to listen closely to local officials. And this includes making sure you have an emergency kit packed with important documents and supplies for at least 72 hours in case, if you are in a risk area, that you are required to evacuate. It's also essential that all of us follow the advice of our local authorities, especially with respect to all fire-burning bans and warnings that are in place. You can also visit firesmartcanada.ca for more ways that you can help make your home and your community and property safe, more resilient in the case of wildfire. Thank you very much, and I'll now turn the mic over to Minister Murray.
Well, thank you, Minister Blair, and good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour à tous. As we all know, it's been a very challenging fire season already right across Canada. And as Minister Blair just said, this has been the worst season of the 21st century. I'm speaking with you as the Minister of Fisheries, Oceans, and the Canadian Coast Guard and a British Columbian. And I do remember how, as the Environment Minister in 2003, the Kelowna fires were unlike anything we had ever experienced, and unfortunately, it is feeling increasingly like this is the new normal. As of this morning, British Columbia alone had 83 active fires happening, with 7 fires having started in just the past 24 hours. The impact of these fires cannot be understated. They change lives, they destroy communities, they force people from their homes, they damage ecosystems, and they impact biodiversity, including salmon, for example. Comme le ministre Wilkinson l'a mentionné la semaine dernière, avec la modélisation actualisée du département de ressources naturelles pour cette saison, le risque s'accroît et la situation risque de s'aggraver prochainement. In the face of these fires, the Canadian Coast Guard has been there to support where needed. In Quebec and in Atlantic Canada, the Canadian Coast Guard provided aerial support, including 2 helicopters in Quebec and 4 helicopters in Nova Scotia, to assist with airlift, with reconnaissance, and with evacuation. We've also provided personnel to transport equipment, medium-duty haulers, 2 mobile large incident command posts, crew support trailers, and equipment to assist with aircraft refueling in Shearwater, Nova Scotia. Le travail du personnel de la garde côtière canadienne a un impact direct sur la vie quotidienne des Canadiens, autant sur la mer qu'en dehors de la mer. Increasingly, Coast Guard personnel have been asked to help Canadians in times of crisis like this, with the wildfire situation right now, as with Hurricane Fiona last fall. This will be a challenging season, but we will be there for Canadians. As always, I and the Canadian Coast Guard stand ready to keep people safe. Thank you. Merci. And I'd now like to invite Minister Guilbeault to take the mic.
Merci beaucoup, Ministre Murray. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Très heureux d'être ici. D'abord, peut-être commencer par dire que nos pensées sont avec les personnes, les familles qui ont été déplacées, que ce soit au Québec ou ailleurs au pays. On parle de plus de 18 000 personnes qui ont été déplacées. On veut remercier évidemment nos pompiers, les bénévoles, les gens qui travaillent sur le terrain pour aider les victimes et les gens qui ont été déplacés par les feux de forêt. Alors, comme le ministre Blair l'a dit, on parle de plus de 458 feux présentement au Canada, 235 qui sont hors de contrôle. C'est 5,7 millions d'hectares qui ont été brûlés. Pour vous donner une idée, là, donc, Bill disait que c'était 3 fois la taille du lac Ontario, mais dans la décennie précédente, en moyenne, les feux de forêt, en termes d'hectares, brûlent 2,7 millions d'hectares par année. On est déjà à 5,7 et nous ne sommes qu'à la mi-juin. Les prévisions des scientifiques d'Environnement Canada et de Ressources naturelles Canada nous indiquent que nous aurons probablement un été très sec et très chaud et donc des conditions très propices à ce qu'il y ait d'autres feux de forêt. Alors le pire est peut-être pas derrière nous, mais peut-être devant nous. On ne le souhaite certainement pas. En ce qui concerne le Québec, évidemment, nous continuons de travailler de très près avec le gouvernement du Québec pour répondre aux demandes du gouvernement, pour nous assurer que toute l'aide fédérale nécessaire est fournie au gouvernement du Québec. On attend 1500 pompiers au cours des prochains jours au Québec, dont 300 membres des Forces armées canadiennes qu'on remercie. Également des pompiers des États-Unis, du Portugal, de l'Espagne, de la France. On remercie également nos partenaires pour toute cette aide-là. On veut rappeler aux gens que c'est important d'être prêt. Si vous êtes dans une région à risque, préparez les documents importants, préparez des biens, des vivres pour au moins 72 heures si vous devez quitter rapidement. Vous pouvez également trouver beaucoup d'informations sur le site intellifeu.ca pour en savoir plus sur est-ce que vous êtes dans une région à risque et quoi faire pour bien vous préparer. Et nous allons continuer d'être là pour la population canadienne et pour nos partenaires des provinces et des territoires qui ont besoin de nous. Merci beaucoup. Je passerai maintenant la parole à mon collègue, le ministre Jonathan Wilkinson.
Merci, Stephen. Je crois que mes collègues ont discuté les enjeux très bien et j'ai seulement quelques mots à dire. Certainly, our thoughts are with everyone who has been impacted by the fires, and certainly our thanks go out to the firefighters and to the first responders. This wildfire season has been devastating thus far, as Minister Blair outlined, but the forecast that I released last week with respect to hot and dry conditions continuing through the summer certainly is sobering, and we need to prepare for this continuing for some period of time. The government has made fighting these fires a significant priority. We have put in place measures to train firefighters. We've put in place significant funding to try to help provinces and territories acquire the equipment they need to fight firefighters. We also have turned very strongly towards investing in adaptation. The unfortunate reality of climate change is that it is with us. It is not going away, irrespective of how hard we work on mitigating carbon emissions. And we need to ensure that we are improving resiliency. The programs like FireSmart, which we have augmented to help communities build resiliency, is going to be very important going forward. But I would also, I guess, underline that the elephant in the room is that these kinds of extreme weather events are going to happen more frequently going forward. And they are going to accelerate if we do not take bold action to mitigate carbon emissions. It is important that we talk about this in the context of the things that we are seeing around us. And in that regard, I think it was important that the House of Commons passed a motion a few days ago that focused not only on the wildfires, but on the need to take progressively more ambitious action to fight climate change. The one thing that I do think that Canadians are asking, and I honestly think that the media should be asking more, is where the Leader of the Opposition stands on the issue of climate change. I don't know whether he doesn't believe in the scientific reality of climate change or he just doesn't think it's that important. But at the end of the day, Canadians want serious policy prescriptions as to how we are going to ensure that we are not making this problem worse as we move forward. It is something that I think Canadians are beginning to ask, and to be honest, I would think that the press gallery should be asking that question too.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take any questions you may have.
Has there been any change in the forecast for the next few weeks in terms of fires or the risk of fires that we know of, or is it still what we were told last week?
And we're monitoring, as you can imagine, and I'll turn to the Environment Minister for the climate update or the environment update weather. But we are seeing, first of all, significant rainfall in Nova Scotia has helped enormously in helping bring the two major fires in that location under control. We are seeing additionally some rainfall in Ontario, in Quebec, even in Western Canada. But unfortunately, the conditions that Mr. Wilkinson outlined continue to persist in excessively dry forested areas, very hot temperatures, particularly in North and Alberta and Saskatchewan, which remain concerning. There has been some relief as a result of the rain that has fallen, and of course we'll pray for more. But at the same time, we'll make sure that we're prepared, because we do believe that the conditions remain, deeply concerning. The forecasts that have been provided, as Minister Wilkinson said, are in fact sobering. We're working very closely with our provincial territorial partners, and we're very fortunate. First of all, the first responders have really stepped up, and I think they continue to do an extraordinary job. We've also been working very closely with the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre to bring resources not only from across Canada, but also from our international partners. And we're very grateful that firefighters from the United States, Australia, New Zealand, France, Portugal, Spain, South America, and other countries continue to come to our assistance, just as we come to their assistance during their fire seasons. And so we'll continue to work hard to manage the situation. We are hopeful that the rainfall will help, but the situation, remains quite concerning.
Monsieur Guilbeault, sur un autre sujet, il y a plusieurs personnes qui ont quitté le bureau du projet de tramway de Gatineau, puis il y a des partenaires qui semblent s'impatienter. Pourquoi est-ce que le gouvernement retarde son appui ce qui fait en sorte que ça met en péril le projet?
Je pense que, comme vous le savez, le gouvernement fédéral est là pour supporter les communautés, les municipalités qui veulent mettre de l'avant des projets de transport en commun. Au moment où on se parle, il y a plus de 300 projets de transport en commun en construction partout au pays et plusieurs autres en processus d'approbation. Évidemment, ce n'est pas le gouvernement fédéral qui va faire les projets, qui va les construire. Nous croyons toujours à l'importance de ce projet-là. Évidemment, il faut que les communautés, les municipalités veulent bien aller de l'avant, mais nous allons être là pour supporter les projets de transport en commun qui sont présentés au gouvernement fédéral.
Should Minister Mendocino fire some of his staff, or should he resign from his job over the Paul Bernardo issue?
I think the minister's been clear. You've heard him probably, as I have, in the House of Comment. He was not made aware of this until after the fact. He said that he's put in place measures to ensure that doesn't happen anymore in his office. I think we, as Cabinet Minister, have a responsibility to ensure that important information are brought to us so that we can take appropriate decision. And I think as he's indicated, he's taken steps to ensure that mistake doesn't happen anymore.
Would you fire someone if they didn't give you such information? Last question.
I think, as ministers, we're ultimately responsible for what happens in our offices. That's my own attitude.
Sur le directeur parlementaire du budget, avec les sommes pour les crédits d'impôt pour les pétrolières, ce genre de choses, les sommes de décès aussi dans le pétrole, est-ce que ça avance assez vite, la fin des subventions au pétrole, selon vous?
Bien, comme vous le savez probablement, on a mis fin, on a présenté un cadre pour les subventions internationales. Si on prend l'exemple de EDC, par exemple, on est passé de plus de 12 milliards de subventions aux combustibles fossiles en 2018 à 3 milliards en 2021. Et l'an passé, c'était 300 millions. Alors, on a vraiment diminué énormément et pendant ce temps-là, les subventions dans les technologies propres chez EDC sont passées de 2 milliards à plus de 6 milliards de dollars. Donc, ça ressemble à ça, la transition. On réduit pour progressivement éliminer les subventions aux combustibles fossiles d'un côté et on augmente de plus en plus celles aux technologies propres de l'autre. Nous allons présenter le cadre pour les subventions au niveau domestique dans un avenir très prochain. Ça fait partie de notre entente avec le NPD. Alors, on ne peut pas se traîner. Je n'ai pas de date à vous offrir, mais un avenir prochain. Et ça fait partie de notre entente avec le NPD, donc on ne peut pas se traîner les pieds là-dessus. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Heads up, Peter Julian.